Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruchahak, Wadash. Double honors due to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to the Lord's elect out there. This is the brother Yeshaya, and this video is going to be about the Insurrection Act that he threatened to enact again. Okay, because I forgot where he actually did it at first. Uh, National Guard in 2025. Okay, but this is just a little refresher course, or if brothers don't know what the Insurrection Act is, or you few sisters that's watching as well. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna get right into the article and then bring some precepts. This is the this this is explainer NPR. Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act again. What is it? Okay. President Trump on Thursday threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act to suppress protests in Minnesota a week after an immigration and customs enforcement agent fatally shot a 37-year-old Minneapolis woman. Okay. And when that happened, I think never mind. The shooting death of Renee Mackling Good sparked protests nationwide against ICE's continued presence in Minnesota and across the United States. Protesters were further incensed on Wednesday evening when ICE agents in Minneapolis shot a Venezuelan immigrant in the leg during the attempted arrest. All right. Writing on Truth Social, Trump said if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from, and there goes the word insurrection, all right, from attacking the patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. Now, just real quick, all right, see, the people always been dealing with governments, all right, the Second Amendment, all right, your right to bear arms. Okay, well, they're going to do away with the Constitution and everything like that. But, the right to bear arms, okay, that was enacted because of how tyrannical the government is. So what they're doing with this Insurrection Act, they want to take your guns away, okay? They want to do this so they can have, basically you will have less defense, all right? Less defense when they do roll on these people, when they roll on the people, man, all right? Because it is coming, okay? Writing on Slovakia. In response to Trump's comments, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison said the president triggered the demonstrations by sending thousands of federal agents to Minnesota. He argued that there were no grounds to invoke the Insurrection Act. If Donald Trump does invoke the Insurrection Act, I'm prepared to challenge that action in court, Ellison said in an emailed statement. The act is one way the president can send troops to states to restore law and order. But unlike in Trump's National Guard deployments in 2025, the Insurrection Act will allow armed forces to carry out law enforcement functions, okay, such as making arrests and conducting searches. Now, that's, opening it up for ICE and, basically an armed force, okay? You're going to have militia groups. You're going to have, black, I forgot what is it called, is it Blackstone or something, that militia group or that, but anyway, I forgot if it's black something, but anyway, yeah, so, you're going to have total anarchy on these streets. You're going to have, and then what the people are going to do, they're going to look at these, mercenaries, because they're basically mercenaries, like, hey, man, who the hell you think you are? And a lot of these so-called, mercenaries that he's hiring to be ICE and, armed, so-called armed so-called armed forces, okay, they're gonna the people gonna look at them like, man, what are you doing holding the gun? All right, that's Chad. And also and also, okay, they're going to basically he's hiring people, okay, or basically anybody, because a little while ago they said that anybody can join ICE. There was like a $50,000 you know, $50,000, sign on bonus or whatnot, I believe, and just gathering these good old boys, man. Okay, these good old Negro hating, country bumpkins, and just your run of the mill Esau Edomites anyway. All right, to basically try to enact peace, okay, or enact or do the job of law enforcement. All right. Beyond quelling protests, the law could also open the door to specifically expand the military's role in protecting federal buildings and carrying out immigration enforcement. There you go, ICE, which some of Trump's aides have suggested he invoked the law for. Since President Thomas Jefferson signed it into law in 1807, the Insurrection Act has been invoked only about 30 times. The last instance was over 3 decades ago during the 1992 Los Angeles riots. During his second term, Trump has reportedly floated the idea of using the statute. Back in June, when asked whether he would invoke the act during the anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles, Trump said it depends on whether or not there is an insurrection. In October, when asked about what conditions he would utilize the Insurrection Act, Trump replied, "I'd do it if necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary." He went on, "If people were being killed and courts were holding us, or governors or mayors were holding us up, I'd do that." Trump also erroneously claimed that nearly half of all U.S. presidents have invoked the law and that it was invoked 28 times by a single president, as he said during the interview with CBS's 60 Minutes in late October. All right, and that's not true. In reality, only 17 out of the 45 presidents, or 37%, has utilized the law. According to the Brennan Center for Justice, a nonpartisan a policy organization that in 2022 tracked all Insurrection Act invocations. The group also did not find a president who invoked the emergency powers more than 6 times, as President Ulysses S. Grant did during the Reconstruction era. The White House did not release a statement on the president's threat. Here's what to know. So let's see. How would, let me see. Before I read this, I feel like I'm reading a little bit too much of this article. So before I go on, I'm going to pull out a scripture. All right. And this speaks to, directly to this Insurrection Act and civil unrest. All right. And, brothers know where I'm going. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. And verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Actually, let me start at 69. 2nd Ezra 16 and 69. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Now let's see what that word insurrection. Actually, you know what? I got to turn this off. Hopefully nobody calls. All right. Oop. Let's see what insurrection means. Insurrection is a violent revolt or uprising by a group of people against their government or established civil authority, aiming to overthrow it or resist its laws, often involving armed conflict or organized resistance to authority. So they want to get this out the way because when they roll in this MOTB, okay, they don't want any type of opposition, just like I said. Okay, if they have it, watered down or have it somewhat controlled, because, you're always going to have certain ones that just gonna, do what the hell they want to. Okay, you're going to have certain the ones that's going to continue to revolt even after, even during while the MOTB is being, mandated. Okay, so they want to, basically get as much as you good old boys or as much as you people that want to revolt against the government, they want y'all out the way. They want to get y'all neutralized, all right, or somewhat neutralized so they can go ahead and start rolling their plans in, man. All right, rolling in that MOTB, that charagma. Okay, the mandation of it. All right, and we're right around the corner, man. So it's like, let me go back to my article. All right, and how would troop deployments differ under the Insurrection Act? So far during Trump's second term, National Guard troops have been called into Los Angeles, Chicago, and Portland, Oregon under a statute known as Title 10, which places the force under federal control. The operations in Memphis, Tennessee, and Washington, D.C. are authorized under Title 32, meaning that they were under state command. The situation in D.C. is unique since the federal district is not a state and therefore does not have a governor. Under these deployments, National Guard forces are subject to the Posse Comitatus Act, okay, which generally prohibits federal military personnel from acting as police on American streets. It's rooted in one of the nation's funding principles, which opposes military involvement in civilian affairs. And they are, doing the thing. They're doing whatever to get past that, man. All right. Elder Apostle Har had brought this out, okay, a little while ago, okay, but basically that Insurrection Act is a way to bypass the Posse Comitatus Act or Comitas Act, okay, and they still mad about how the first Civil War went down, man, because it didn't go their way. All right, so they want to start this shit up again, man, but hey. We're waiting to see what the Lord is going to do. All right, because that's all we can do. All right, we just have our popcorn ready. We're going to just keep prophesying and, warning the people until this thing actually sets off, you know. So, let's see. The controversial emergency powers were last used during the 1992 Los Angeles riots after the acquittal of 4 police officers in the beating of Rodney King. Then President George H.W. Bush invoked the law at the request of a then California Governor Pete Wilson, who was worried that law enforcement could not quell the unrest alone. And that deployment also showed a risk of using military personnel as law enforcement, which they're already doing that. They're, militarizing the police. Okay. So, and I look at a modern day cop now, they got tattoos, muscles, like they be on steroids, because that's what the military does, man. They pump you up with they put shit in the food and everything like that to basically make you a better warrior for them. I know. All right. LA police officers asked a group of Marines to cover them as they approached a house. The Marines interpreted their request as asking them to open fire when the police officers actually wanted them to stay on the ground. Okay, so man, hey, they're gonna be letting loose these guys with PTSD. Okay, and also they're gonna have certain militia groups that they're gonna arm. Okay, that have little to no military backing or military experience, man. Okay, terms like insurrection, rebellion, and impracticable are loosely defined and give broad defense to the president, according to William Banks, professor emeritus of law at Syracuse University and an expert in national security and emergency powers. Okay, so let's see. Skipping down, if Trump were to evoke the law or address crime or enforce immigration laws, it would represent a sharp departure from past uses and would likely face legal challenges, according to Laura A. Dickinson, a professor at George Washington University Law School who focuses on national security. While it seems very broad on its face, it's not a blank check, she said. So that's it for the article. Now let's go to some scriptures. Okay, because man, this is all set up. Okay, everything that they're doing is set the fuck up. All right, and we're telling y'all this, and we're showing you proof through the scriptures on how they have this thing, pre-planned to crash the economy. Okay, and with that, they want people to be they're gonna start going after your weapons, going after your guns. Okay, and they want as less opposition, all right, least opposition as possible when they start rolling on cats, man, and especially us, But we don't have any. We don't live by the sword. Okay, we don't live. The scriptures say, "You live by the sword, you die by the sword." All right, we don't live by the sword, man. All right, we are waiting on patiently on Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to come in and set up a standard and to get us out of here, man. All right, that's our power. Okay, Esau's carnally, he's gonna beat us every time. Okay, but where he lacks spiritually, that's where our power is in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse I'm gonna start at 1 and then skip down. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So civil war is on the cusp. Okay, and they are, they want to, invoke this Insurrection Act. Okay, to basically, like, under the veil, they say, to, stop civil unrest or to avoid civil unrest. But basically, it's all falling into their agenda of taking your guns and basically, what's the word? Unequipping people, or basically just taking as many people out as they want so they can have less opposition when they really start to roll this MOTB out. All right. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go in a city, Salaki, verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Martial law is about to hit the streets. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, so this man is crazy, and he needs to be stopped. And the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to stop him. All right, but hey, it's going to be a lot of things in between that. All right, Isaiah 17 and 12, woe to the multitude of many people, which make a noise like the noise of the seas, and to the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? There's going to be a noise of many people. All right, the nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but Yahweh Bashem Yahshua shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far off, and shall be chased of the chafe of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. So, yeah, this is not it. Yeah. Anyway, let's go to the book of Second Ezra, chapter 9. All right. Second Ezra 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when ye shall see when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. All right, so this thing is going down. It says earthquakes and uproars of the people. Okay, a lot of people are going to bug out. They're going to lose their minds. All right, and the Esau, Edom, they're anticipating that. That's why they're setting things up now. Okay, to basically, deter it as much as possible. Okay, they want to, take away the Second Amendment. Like I said before, the Second Amendment, okay, was enacted because of the tyrannical government. Because the government was so tyrannical, okay, and it's still that way. And this because it's being run by a shadow government, all right, and they have something down the pipe that hey man, this is going to be the most evil, dastardly thing imagined. Okay, putting a device in someone to track and monitor their every step, their thoughts, their emotions. Okay, ultimately trying to become their power. All right, Isaiah 14. Okay, Hey, they want to be like the Most High. All right. So man, hey, the Lord is gonna stop this man, and we know that we got many scriptures, the Lord's gonna disappoint him. All right, when he goes to eat, all right, so we know, we're just trying to, not only uplift ourselves but the brethren, the Akim, okay, the few sisters that watch, and to give the warning, man. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 94 and verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which framest mischief by a law? Okay, so these guys, they frame mischief by a law. And they frame mischief by a law many times. And they, when you read these articles, Declaration of Independence and everything like that, it's coded. Okay, so when you read it, you really don't, it's just everywhere. Just like the American thought process, just like the English language, just like the philosophies, their wine, you know, they're everywhere with it, man. Their doctrines, they're everywhere with it. All right. So, let me see. But the Lord, okay, therefore gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. But the Lord, okay, is my defense, and my power is the rock of my refuge. So we don't have anything to worry about. Okay, we don't have anything to worry about, because these dudes, these Edomites, what they're setting up, they woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. Okay, so all of these things, yes, they're unconstitutional, which the Constitution ain't shit. Okay, but just in the realm of using it against them. Okay, yeah, it's basically set up, and it's not for you so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. It's protect the white people. Okay, it's protect them, but they see how Esau Edom does it, man. They don't give a fuck about y'all. You average, like we used to say, Joe six pack, run of the mill Edomites. They don't give a fuck about y'all, and y'all are opposition to them. So that's why y'all are included right here with our black ass, man. That Insurrection Act and everything like that that's coming down the pipe. Y'all are included with us. All right. So this is just a scripture to lift your thoughts, because the Lord is gonna bring us out of this thing, man. All right, this is Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So hey, we're gonna be using those names, we're gonna be calling upon those names, okay, until we get up out of here, because that is our only refuge. That is, hey, who is his name, who is his son's name, if thou can tell. All right, so that's the only way to, basically get the ear of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, because that is his only powerful, true, holy name. Okay, Yahweh, all right, Ba'Shem, in the name Yahushua. All right, so Lord willing, that was uplifting. Want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rachahakodash. Double honors due to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Rule well, peace, blessings, and safety to the Lord's elect. Shalom.